after 3.
Absolutely. Let me pull up the old PowerPoint, and we're going to come right out of the gate. And hey, it's so good to see everybody. We're not going to have time to do introductions. Sometimes you do introductions and they take up your whole hour. So this is going to be a fast-paced. We'll have 2 breakouts, and hang in there with us. The big thing is we want to meet you and help you. I'm so happy to have on our team today Terri Rufert, who's superintendent down in Sundale, and Dr. Helio Brasil, superintendent in Keys down in Stanislaus. 2 long-term superintendents who are going to impart what they feel their career has been blessed with by being in a small district. And that's kind of what we're here to do, is to help you prepare and think about superintendent, what that entails and what that means. So I will tell you guys, and they both hate when I say this, but these are 2 of the top superintendents in the state. I don't say that lightly. They are outstanding. They run great schools, and they are and their favorite thing to do is to help you become them, right? That the Terri and Helio are some of the most generous people with their time and consulting and help and mentoring. So you're very lucky to have 2 great leaders with us, and you're stuck with me. So let's get going. The next hour, we're going to kind of break things up into 3 chunks. We'll talk about leadership versus management, questions that you have to ponder about becoming a superintendent. Then Helio's going to take, I'll do that part. Helio will take a segment where we're going to talk about the skills and knowledge you need to become a superintendent. And Terry's going to wrap it up, I think, with really good, I would say wrapping up a gift to you about really how do you get connected? How do you really get the right people to help you to become a superintendent? So I think one of the things that we're very weak at in all aspects of working with administrators is we spend 95% of our time talking about management, and really superintendent are truly about, are you a leader? Do you really enjoy people thriving? I thrive off stress. If I have no stress, I actually get more stressed, not having stress and problems to deal with. And I always have this philosophy, and Helio and Terri are great. They both are entrepreneurial because people follow and fund people, not ideas, right? Helio's doing a project, and I couldn't believe when I read this, and he didn't even know I was kind of stalking him, but he's doing a project with his little school district in the middle of the Central Valley with Arizona State University on teaching entrepreneurial. He's so creative. She actually runs a general store on her campus that the kids work at. And these people follow them because they're leaders. And you have to reflect in the mirror, are you a leader, right? And I always say this, and people always ask me, how come there's not a lot of great leaders in education? Well, because 95% of your job as administrator is mandated by policy, by code, by bargaining, by rules, et cetera. And they get stuck on being, for those of you that know Title I, a lot of people lead like that. You can't do this, can't do that, can't do that. Great leaders figure it out anyways, right? A great leader takes the Title I regulations and goes, you know what? I want to do something for kids. I'm going to figure a way around it, stay legal. But great leaders always figure a way to do great things for kids. And to me, that's a sign of a great superintendent, is they understand the difference between leadership.
Hey, there's a car going to be coming in a second.
I don't. Was that one of our fans, Helio, from the?
I think that's a gentleman who was actually trying to get in his car he was driving somewhere, so he was going to be listening to us.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. So, you can talk about what's a manager and what's a leader. I always say, a lot of people like to lead by their title. They become a superintendent, and all of a sudden they say, they scare people. They kind of take credit for things. And you can see a great leader is coaching. They're all about growing their own people. They're all about fixing things that are done. They give credit, don't take it. And the best thing they do is people follow them because they know they're going to say, let's go. They're like a good travel agent. They don't send people to places they don't go themselves, right? So that requires a great leader some people become a superintendent because they, you know, they have a great little resume or they got a doctorate and all that, and they fail miserably as a superintendent because they're saying, hey, I'm the soup, I'm the boss, follow me. And people are going, no. People follow Terri and Helio to the nth degree because they know they'll do whatever it takes to help out children, right? Whatever it takes, they're there and they're a true leader. I will leave this with you, but John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership changed my life as a leader. I was the county superintendent and I clicked on this one video and it really helped me understand how to lead people as a superintendent.
I have a visual, Tim, that I'm sharing.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of John Maxwell. His this 27-minute video, guys, it's a great talk. Just put your headphones on. It'll change your perspective of how to be a great leader. And to tell you the truth, it's all about being a people person, right? I always find it interesting that some people are in principalships or assistant soup or principal, and they're terrible with people. John Maxwell says, it's not good with people, but you're in the people business. And that's the, so this is a great video for you to watch. Email me and talk about this video over and over, but it'll help you a lot. Here's some questions you can read. I hope it's not too small, but Helio put all these together, and I just love it. These are things, and you'll have this PowerPoint. Are you ready, right? Is the district too big? Do I really want a small? Hey, I've never worked in certain areas of school systems. You know, am I really here to get a bigger paycheck or really help improve education, right? Truly, do you want to be an instructional leader or just somebody who wants a bigger paycheck or wants a bigger title? So those are things you have to these are great questions to ponder, and we're not going to go through every detail one, but these really do challenge you. I love the fact that I think I can make a change as a small district leader, and that's why I went to a small county office, because I could see you can change things on a dime. It is a very lonely job. It is very difficult, but as you'll hear from all 3 of us, there's nothing more rewarding than being a small school district superintendent. You know the kids, you know the families, and all the your head you can actually implement because you're in charge. You don't have to talk to a lot of cabinet members and all that. It's just you and a couple administrators, or maybe just you and yourself doing that. And it's so exciting to just take things and go for it, right? I think if both of Terri and Helio were in large districts, they would not be happy because they really love to be around the children and they love to make change on the research that they've studied and make it happen. So with that said, I threw a lot at you about being a leader or a manager, and then a lot of questions to ponder. So we're going to break up into 3 groups, and I hope Corey, you can put Terri, Helio, and I as separate ones. I love you two, but I don't want to be in a breakout. And what are your first thoughts about you being a leader and a manager and all those questions? And I think more importantly, do you work on your leadership skills? It's very hard to do. Obviously, you're very busy, but it's just like practicing golf or anything else. You got to work on practicing your leadership. So that's what we're going to talk about. If we can go 7 minutes, Corey, I think we'll stay on time.
All right, give me 1 second just to set these up. And I'm assuming you want 3 with you, Helio, and Terri all overseeing one?
Yep. Good luck, Helio and Terri. Looks like a tough crowd we got here. Helio had a full head of hair before superintendency.
That's very true. That's very true.
All right, so 7-minute breakout rooms. I'm opening them now.
McFadden was the CBO there who's on our board, so I'll tell him I saw you. We're going to move on with Helio, and Helio, I gave him the toughest job, which is really talk about all the things you're going to have to learn. I think Terri and I took the front and back side because Helio's really good at this. So Helio, I'll help coach through this. You have about 7-8 minutes to be brief on this important topic. So let's move on to the next one. Hold on 1 sec. I got to bring back screen share, right?
Getting good at this, Tim.
Oh, man. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Helio, the first together about this job. So you got it, right? You there?
So,
Perfect.
What and we kind of touched a little bit upon this in the last group or in our breakout room, but it really is an amazing position to be in a small district, but you are going to wear many hats. So I say hold your breath, buckle up, get ready for a ride like no one you've ever experienced before. And yes, probably much more intense than Disneyland, that's for sure. The hats you'll wear, the many keys you will carry, the deliveries you'll make, the maintenance and equipment, the handling of parent calls, all of that. And sometimes that's within the first half an hour of opening the day. So I want to encourage all of you that I truly believe that a small district is the absolute best position in the world, and being superintendent principal, although one of the most demanding jobs, I could not imagine doing it in a larger district, and I have no desire. In fact, I moved to the current district that I'm in now that's a little bit larger, about 1,100, and it is very different. So no, I welcome all of you, and I think some of the things, Tim, if you'll flip the slide there for me. And one more, if you will, please. And one more, if you will. All right, well, that's just kind of the graphic that kind of shares you are going to do things that you never thought you were capable of, or that you had it in you. And there will be many days you're going to say, I don't have it. I don't know how. Know that you're not alone. Know that you can ask for help. It really makes absolutely no difference, I think, who you choose to reach out to, as long as you obviously you trust and you know that they will tell you the truth. That's important. So it's important to seek that individual, and don't be afraid to fail. There will be failure. We say that to kids. So I sometimes think of us as adults, we forget that. And as a leader, we do fail sometimes. And I think some of the best leaders in the world often fail before they succeed again. So I do think it's important that you are aware that and Tim, if you'll go to the next thing, education really is a business, whether we want to say that or look at it in that way or not. It is a different type of business, but it's important that you understand, budget. You can analyze trends. If you can read a crystal ball, you're even better off then, because you'll know what's coming, which we typically don't know. And unfortunately, we plan for what we then don't know the reality of, particularly in budgeting. We're always a year behind, it feels. So I think it's also important to grasp the idea of having 5 or 7, some boards are 3, but you really do have 5 or 7 different bosses. And they all come at you with their own distinct way of wanting to improve the product, or to tell you how you need to do your job. So I think it's really important that you establish what are the goals of the board, and that you help them to achieve those goals. You're there to advise and to build those relationships of trust. I think also communicate and prepare to be as flexible and as limber as you possibly can. Again, data, it's unfortunate that is what we're looked at and judged upon, but that's not. We all know the true learning is what kids are able to share with us and show us, not necessarily on a state assessment. So it's also important to keep that. Yes, we need to look at data and use it to your advantage by showing even small incremental growth is positive growth. Don't be overwhelmed by so-and-so or the neighboring district is doing this or that. And don't be afraid to share where you are. I think part of it is we try and tell kids, share what you've learned. Well, we need to share what we're learning, what we're experiencing, so that we can best serve them. I think human resources, I'll tell you that the toughest thing is not dealing with kids. It really will be the adults. Even if it is a small staff, that will be the thing that takes the most of your time. And honestly, there are days it sucks the life out of you. And again, kids learn, and quickly. Adults tend to have already reached the level that they think, I'm at mastery and I'm not going to learn anything greater now. So this is how I'm going to do it. Tim, if you'll go over one more.
Yeah, Helio, one thing to add on there, just on a compliment. So large school district soups only have to worry about the second bullet. They're just babysitters to the board and make sure their cabinet's doing their work. And that's that life. The life here, Helio's and Terry, no, they have to learn all these areas. They may not be 100% expert in every single component of it, but they sure as heck know every single one. So that's the beauty of the small. Large, you're basically just babysitting board members and politics. So let's see, let me get to the next slide here. Uh-oh.
One thing to keep in mind is there was someone on my breakout group who was came from a background in special education as an administrator. That is such a plus because that is something that you really have to be in tune with your district, or financially and legally you can be in a lot of hot water very, very quickly. So I think those are things to, again, you won't know everything, so ask and don't be afraid to ask. It's also important that, of course, we'll have all of this federal and state achievement accountability system that, you know, just today, apparently they released the dashboard, and I thought, how can we, what has changed since we haven't been able to do anything? And yet there's the dashboard again. State and federal laws governing personnel practices. And during these times of COVID, more personnel issues or decisions have come down than at any time I've ever seen in education. And honestly, we changed paperwork overnight from the 14-day quarantine to the 10-day quarantine. So it's being prepared to do all of those things and off the cuff many times. Not to mention then trying to build relationships with the legislature, both at the state level and at the federal level, to assure that they realize that smalls are different and our kids need services and need them sometimes far more than some of the large, and it's more difficult for we as one person to achieve that. And I think the other thing is you really do, you'll learn the difference between a district policy and an administrative regulation. I always feel like administrative regulations are just to keep me in line so that I do, and policy, the board tells me. So that's kind of how I look at those areas. Then
There's a lot. Yeah, there you go.
You're almost there. You are the instructional leader, and that's tough at times. Focus on kids, never lose sight of kids and what they're capable of, and that they have hopes and aspirations, and that they're as frustrated, particularly now when we have kids at home who don't know if their parents have a job, who don't know when they'll return to school, who don't know what my friend is doing or not. How do I reach out to this person or that? Mental wellness is something you can never forget. And it's that human touch that as a small district, I think we make those connections with kids every day. You know them each by name, and there's a beauty in that I think, and a comfort that's amazing. So set and implement goals. Don't just assume that those will be dropped in, and sometimes you have to foster the board to come up with some of them or to modify them at times, because you realize that, well, you all have a different one. We've got to somehow together come up with a group that we can all get behind, and really learn to communicate and respect employee unions. It is tough. There will be days you will walk out of there and you will make hand gestures and many other gestures after closing the door that you could not do in an open door. But you need to be prepared. You need to understand and have them always focus on kids. So a lot of times I have to tell mine, wait a minute, how's that going to serve kids? And they get irritated, obviously, because they say, you always ask that. Well, if you can justify that for me, then I know that it must be or will be a good thing. If it's not, then that's not what we're in. And so again,
Helio, can you add to this? I think the pinnacle of a great leader, superintendent, is how they handle the table and how they handle the board, right? I mean, the table is I think the chess game, and the great leader, they have trouble at the table, right? Terri is a great example. I think she had an MOU when her staff came back to return to work and all that good stuff. COVID era. Helio, let's talk about, that's the pinnacle of true leadership. And I think going into those bargaining things, and the unions want this and you got this. You want to add a little bit to that? Because I know you really kind of enjoy that time. You also want to bang your head against the wall. But before we go to the breakout, let's talk about the.
Sure. No, I will tell you, if you can tackle negotiations, that is a huge thing to do. And it is truly learning what motivates some of these people and where they're coming from. And it's also having the ability to be upfront and to establish these are non-negotiable things. or these are the norms that we're going to set as we sit down at the table. We won't be rude or disrespectful. And I know that sounds kind of, setting up your class and rules. It's really no different in that sense. You want to set that kind of a tone and environment. And I'm one of those that I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And so I do get excited. And so for me, I often have to think, come on, sit on that hand for another minute, let it sink in, because you want to give them the opportunity to share. And many times, if you allow them, they truly will kind of, at times, realize, oh, wow, what we're asking for really isn't realistic. But it's also being transparent. If you have reserves, acknowledge that you have those reserves at the table. If you have money that is one time, share that it's one time. So this is what we can do. Be creative about solutions. I hate one-time money because it forces us to the table all the time. And what can you do with it other than here's your bonus check? Because we can't add it to a salary schedule. You can't do anything with it. And so to me, it's like, keep that, because it doesn't help kids, in my opinion. It's just one more headache for us to deal with as an administrator. And really that $200 or $300 that goes in the pocket of a person is not going to make or break us. So that's what's frustrating. But yet they think they've put something into it and made education better because they gave us $200 to work with. So
good stuff. That is such, you guys, that is true. And a lot of people say, oh God, you have to bargain, but great leaders love to roll up the sleeves and win that one. Terri yearns for it. She likes there and work with her across the table from her staff to get what's right for the school and for the kids, and Helio, same thing. So look, we're going to take a deep breath because we threw a lot of stuff at you in this round, right? And it's like, wow, we try not to say that, and many times when you go through a little workshop like this, they're saying, oh God, why the hell would you want to be a superintendent? And there are some truth to that, but the bottom line is we want you guys to know, we really think if you truly want to be a leader, it's a way to end your career. It's super exciting. It's invigorating. It's hell. It's heaven. It's both. Mm-hmm. But you do have to wear many hats, right? It is. I worked in Elk Grove School District, and it was way easier just to be compartmentalized, but I was bored after a time. So we're going to break out in 3 more sessions, Corey, 3 more groups, and we're going to talk about the many hats. Is that what you truly want in your career, is to work in a small school district? Or is this like, nah, my cup of tea is to get in the big world? And also I would throw a charter school in there. We have a lot of charter members now that are joining because they realize they're the same. And then secondly, it is truly, in my opinion, Terri, you've been around how many years?
26, 33 in education, 26 here at Sundale.
Yeah. And Helio, you've been a soup how long?
I have been a superintendent principal for 22.
Guys, you won't find a superintendent who's alive in a big district that's been at the chair for 22 years.
Yeah.
If they are, they're on a respirator, right? So, is this what you want, or is this a stepping stone? And we can talk about that in breakout. So Corey, press the magic buttons and give us 7 minutes. We're right on time. We're doing great. And Terri, you got the next segment to wrap it all up. It's good.
Opening the rooms now.
From Campbell, why the heck would you want to be? Is this your passion, being a small district? Do you think you want to jump over to big Santa Clara Unified or something?
Oh, stop. Thank you, Tim. No, I don't want to jump over to one of the big ones here. And that's been my thought process this whole time. I grew up born and raised Ben Lomond, if you know where that is. God bless you.
I got a cabin in Boulder Creek. Come on.
Oh, get out. Okay. Us SLVers are born and bred good educators. And there's a bunch of us that all graduated together that are all in different levels in the state. It's fascinating. And I think it's because we had such a really high level, intense education in the 70s that it's because we were small. We didn't have all the big boy problems, I think, across the hill. And I've talked to Tim. I did, this is my 8th year in Campbell. I was a site principal. Then I moved to a director spot. I didn't necessarily want it because I love my school site. They cut my position. I'm back at a site as an AP. And I know that a small district would be my next and last spot. I turned 50 this year. I need to sort out my next 11 years. And I'll be here, or I'll be running my own show again. And I miss that. I do. Yeah,
good point. 2 things, and I'll hand it over to you, Terri. One,
sure, Tim. Sure, you always cut into my time.
Hold on. You'll love this one, T. Danielle is a school principal in Bishop, where our former board member was at, down at Inyo. Danielle, they ran out of bus drivers, so she got her bus license as a principal picking up kids. That's how we roll in smalls right there.
It is. In my area, I have a coworker that's a principal, a superintendent, principal, bus driver, some that are teachers, superintendent, principals, and teachers. And I will say, on any given day, it's the best job in the world. And on some days you want to retire, but we don't. We just keep sticking around because I'm going to tell you one thing, and then I'll go on to relationships. Because I'll go on to how you stay connected. It's about relationships. Okay, if you're about relationships, then you're going to be much happier. You're going to be much happier in a small school than a big school district. You can still make that happen in a big school district if you're a people person. It's just a little bit harder, the politics, and get involved a little bit more.
Yeah, you guys, and I don't want to downplay Terri, because I know Terri, you got the next like 12, 15 minutes, but I think the next is super important. And I want you guys to know, Helio sat on the teaching commission board for years, I think like a decade or so. And Terri was actually the president of AXA coming out of a small, you have the opportunity in a small, really elevate yourself, because people love to talk to small district leaders. So these two people have done statewide things that very few got to do, because they like to jump and they like the big slopes. So Terri, the rest is yours. This is ready for the jump, and I'll give you the first slide. There you go.
Okay, before I go over that, so I was vice president of Ledge Action. I wasn't the president, but the local level and the regional level. But that's part of why I love the job is because of relationships, right? That's why I stayed at a small school. But the thing is, go ahead and go to the next one. The thing is it is a lonely job, and you can't really share everything with your principal, or if you're superintendent principal with your vice principal, or a staff member. I'm going to give you a big key. Your staff can be your family, but they cannot be your friends. So if you have kids, it's like your kids. They are your kids. They are not your friends till they get to a certain level. And even though I have grown adult sons, they are still my sons. They're more friends now, but they will never stop being my sons. So, and I will never lose that total mom role, right? So you have to learn how to reach out and to connect with other people. And the best way to do that is to get out of your sight. There are so many of you so many superintendents and superintendent principals, bus drivers say, I can't, I'm too busy. You will die in your district. You have to make it a priority. And this is one of the things that we do not do well. We do not make our own growth, our own personal growth, a priority, and that will kill you, and you will not like your job, and you may even make mistakes that you don't need to make. So you have to prioritize time to get involved in SSDA and AXA, SSDA, AXA cash if you're a building person, or if you're in special ed, part of the special ed too. SSDA and AXA are more for leaders. You can do the other ones as well. SSDA is strictly small schools. AXA has to do all different sizes around. And both SSDA and AXA have mentoring programs. The thing about SSDA and why I'm now on the SSDA board and not, I'm still involved in AXA, but I'm on the SSDA board, is because it's specific to small schools. And AXA has to consider small schools and LA Unified at the same time, right? So it's a bigger realm. But I will tell you that I have mentors from my own county, because I got involved with my own county, all the way across California. And because I also got involved in AASA, which is more nationally, and a branch of AXA that was nationally, I also have mentors nationally. And each one is for different purposes. And I wouldn't have had them if I would have stayed in my district. I would have if I would have stayed in my district and done nothing, I would have had nobody, right? So I have county soups that I know my own county soups that I know that I can go to. I have, like, I would call Helio on certain issues that I know he's gone through. And the only reason I knew that is because we were on the board together and he shared it, or because of his experience on CTC in different areas. We're kind of from the same Central Valley area, so we have similarities. I have somebody I call for HR stuff, somebody I call for budget stuff. And sometimes I call somebody for knowledge, and then sometimes I call, I just need to know the ruling. But sometimes I want to know, I know the ruling, how did you apply the ruling? Because I'm one of that, I know the law, now how do I get around it? Okay, so because in small schools, we're always trying to figure a way around it. So here are some keys and these are reasons, because of you have to do these things, it's reasons that you need to be able to have mentors and connect, right? Because it is, especially right now, all of you, it is changing rapidly. And to keep up on everything, it's not possible to keep up on everything. And I'm very involved and I read everything that comes my way. I don't always understand it. So, and if you're brand new, you're like, wait, what is that? What's that acronym? What's that? But here's a key. It says always expect change, which is good. Remain flexible and compassionate. I cannot talk enough about flexibility and compassion, right? Look at things from other people's viewpoint. And they already talked about adults. I can tell you adults are my #1 headache. Parents and staff alike. I love every single one of my staff members, even the one that causes me the most grief. But there are times when I hear a voice, I want to go shut the door because I don't want to talk to that person at all, right? And sometimes I do, because I'm not in the right frame of mind to be able to deal with that person. Okay, so you have to know yourself well enough to know that too. Go ahead, Tim. So how do you learn about mentors and different people that are doing different things? So these are some things that you can check on, looking for different things about a district before you apply for a district.
Yeah, sorry, Terri, that was my fault. This should have been an earlier one. But
I know, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because it's.
Yeah,
it's
sorry about that. Sorry.
So when you're applying for a job, you ought to be interviewing the board as much as the board is interviewing you, because I will tell you, I have the dream job. I'm telling you, I work at Disneyland. My board does not micromanage me. They trust me. They go with my wacky, way out of the box ideas. But then I go with their way out of the box wacky ideas as well. I am very transparent with them. Matter of fact, I do letters to my board now, updates, because that's Helio. I learned that from Helio. So I started updating my board on a regular basis so they kept knowledgeable about things. And so you have to interview them as much, but go to their website, see if this is a district that you want to be at. Because I will tell you, some districts don't want to be changed. I just had one that I'm mentoring, and she just changed to a new superintendency job because the teachers and the boards did not want to change. And she was going home crying every day and just couldn't see a way out. And so either she's going to have to dig in and make some tough decisions, or she needed to get out. So she had the opportunity and she got out. So do your own work first. Don't be so anxious to be a superintendent that you'll take any job at all. Okay. So this is talking about don't isolate yourself. SSDA does have mentors. If you were to contact Corey or Tim, they would try to hook you up with somebody. Helio and I are on this because we believe in it. We believe in growing our own. So we would be available if you took our emails down or called and asked us for support. But here are some things when you're looking for it. Don't change the slide yet. You need to have somebody that has a we can attitude, not a I can, because it does take a team if you really want to believe a team. So if somebody's constantly say, yeah, I did this, I did that, I do that, probably don't pick that person as a mentor, because you want to build your team. And the people that have been in my breakout rooms, it seems like that's kind of where you're at anyway. You want to know how they've been innovative or entrepreneurial. What have they done? Have they gotten a grant? Have they applied something in a neat way? When you're looking at their website, what have they done? Have you heard their name before? Has somebody talked about something they've done in their district? Somebody just got a CTE grant, and at a district that Tim and I were talking to last night, and they're applying it, and and the reason is because they fought a bigger district and they still got it. So hey, that's somebody I want to talk to. You know, they're not willing to say, okay, I just lost, I don't get it. No, they were willing to get in there. And how did you do that? Did they just demonstrate that they have knowledge, not just knowledge, but they can apply knowledge? They're trustworthy and confidential, whether it's in county or out of county, either way. And that they have follow through. So if you start to have somebody as a mentor and they don't follow through with you, then I would just stop. If it comes from SSDA, then let Tim or Corey know. And if they're honest with you. You don't want just somebody that always says, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I want somebody that says, well, Terri, think about this. If you do this and this, I was trying to work in a gray area to get around a law. And I called somebody that I knew and they said, I don't know, Terri, that's really dark gray. I thought you didn't like playing in the dark gray area. I'm like, yeah, I don't. They said, that's really borderline. So we talked it through, but they were willing to be honest with me, right? And so that's what I want. I don't want somebody that's always just going to tell me, matter of fact, I don't want to know how great I am at all. I hate when Tim does that. I just want to smack him. If it was in the face, I'd smack him, because I couldn't do my job if I didn't have the board and the staff that I have, right? So, and I know it takes all of us. Don't interrupt. You can't say anything, Tim, because I hate it.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to.
I hate it.
Oh, I forgot. You're talking about mentors. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So do they push you? Do they have a broad vision? Are they connected, right? Or are they just stay in their little area? I will tell you this, the other thing is, are they in professional organizations? And then are they like active at the county, the region, and the state level? Are they going to be able to tell you, different things? So do they know kind of how that works? And you can tell that in a lot of different ways. Once you get to talk with somebody, the more you get involved, just the more you're involved in different organizations, the more, like if you go to workshops, you go to summits, you go to conferences, you meet more people, and then you get to you'll see who kind of meshes with you. I have had some mentors that have not been good. And I always say, if you give me bad advice once, then I'm pretty much done, because that can hurt your reputation. So you kind of have to know, and you can kind of tell if you're in an organization and somebody's on a board and they continually not show up, or they say they're going to do something and they don't, that would not be a good person. That basically is, look for somebody that you respect the qualities, that's the kind of leader that you want to be, that they can actually teach you something and get you something. But the biggest thing I want you to get out of this is, make it a priority. Do not get stuck in your district because you feel guilty about leaving your kids, your job, you're putting it on somebody else. You will be a better leader for everybody if you make it a priority to get out, to get a mentor, and to continue to learn. Okay. It's just not, do you want to leave your job thinking that I did everything I possibly can, or have regrets? And my dad taught me, live life with no regrets. So I'm going to tell you, be a superintendent or a principal, superintendent principal, and don't have any regrets. If you make mistakes, learn from them and go on. So make sure you make the most of it. If you need somebody, contact SSDA. Okay, next one. So are we going to break out, or are we just going to talk about this here?
I think we're going to talk about it. I think, Terri and Helio will tell you got to start acting like a superintendent, right? They're giving you great advice to get mentors, to think about the job, but you got to start to like put yourself in that shoe. You're interviewing for your next job. When you come out of the gate, what's your 2-minute introduction to be in that first interview? And a lot of that is about, has your career led up to this moment, right? None of us were guaranteed a superintendent job. It's usually in a small district. You go from a principal, maybe a lead teacher, into a superintendent. And what do you want the panel to say? Oh man, that's the one, right? And so you have to kind of, this day 4, start thinking about that. I think the great thing that Terri is offering to you guys is really, if I was you guys, get yourself connected with some people outside of your area, right? You really, what I love about these two is they're connected. They know everybody throughout the state, and SSDA's help with that. But if you really want to broaden your horizon and watch what's going on outside of your little county, do that. So from this day forward.
Tim, let me add one more thing. Find your passion. So my 2 passions are special ed and advocacy. And so I love the law. I love politics. I don't want to be a politician, but I love playing with politicians, and I love that debate type thing. So that's why I ended up being on the Ledge Action, both at AXA, and kind of why I got involved in AXA and SSDA in the first place, and special ed. Special ed is always in the middle of legal things, right? So those are my 2 passions. So that's what started me, and that's how I went through those areas and got connected. So find your passion. Like my principal, who's going to be the next superintendent here, her passion is curriculum. I could care less about giving a paper. I'll teach them to read or whatever it is, I know that it's important, but it's just not my passion, but it's hers. So she'll get involved in that area more because that's her passion, right? So it just
dialed in.
Yeah, it depends on what you are.
We're going to wrap it up in a couple minutes. And Terri and Helio, a little challenge to you. I'll tailorize you. Give them 2 takeaways that are important to you. Before we do that, I just want you guys to know, we as a SSDA board we've really had it how the large urban continue to get special care, right? So we did a report on our small districts, and the average small district was up and running in about 5.5 days to get students some curriculum after March 13th, where large urban took 8 to 10 weeks. Absolutely immoral. And instead of any type of apology, they're saying, oh, we need more money for learning loss because these adults couldn't come up with an agreement at the table. We are going to be very aggressive this year. We may even end up in look at litigation of how kids in small school districts, especially rural areas, are treated. The fact that the broadband is not solved yet is truly a moral issue and also a civil rights issue. So be vocal. Please look on our website. We have some committees now where you can, whatever your area of expertise is, sign up. It's a little form, takes 2 seconds. And we're looking for more leaders throughout California to work with my board and our lobbyists to be a voice. And we have about 12 or 15 areas to look at, including a ledge committee. I'll give you my 2 takeaways for you. Everybody always asks me when they apply for jobs, what's the board like? I would ask first, what's the office staff like, right? If you think it's tough to work with a bad board, try working with an office staff that's passive aggressive. That I've seen more superintendents fired because they don't get along with the gossip office team or the team that's passive aggressive. So always check out the office staff because you work with them 50 hours a week and they can make your life just living hell. And I think the second thing I was going to throw out to you guys, what else would I want? Oh, how's your county office that you're applying for? Because the county office are so critical. Helio's had both experiences. Terry's got a great county office. But look, that can make your life tough as a small district leader if you have not a supportive county office of ed. And call the county soup and go, you're interested in applying, what's going on? They love to talk to you guys like we do. Helio, you have 2 takeaways? So we got a couple minutes. It's great.
I sure do. I think the first is to truly be transparent and advocate for kids. And the last is you got to lead from the heart. Don't be afraid to be you. And with that, I encourage all of you to never give up on kids and to do what you enjoy and be as successful as you possibly can and stay healthy and well.
Terri?
I would say be a servant leader. It will never take you in a wrong place. And the other thing is you're not in this alone.
Wow, good stuff, you guys. I really enjoyed presenting with you guys. Thank you for being with us. Probably your homework is to watch Maxwell, read through this PowerPoint, and contact us if you need to reach out to meet some new people in California. We're here to help. And on behalf of SSDA, thanks for being with us today and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you for your dedication. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.